Okay, let's try the next posture, Virabhadrasana 1. So for that, bring your feet together, hands in front of the chest, inhale. Exhale, bend the knees and jump, spread your legs out wide, about 3.5 feet distance. Now hands on the hip, hold your waistline. So let's try the posture first with the right side. So turn your right foot out, roll the right leg externally in this position. So now it's going to straight the right leg in this position. Now let's work on the left leg to rolling the left leg. So move the left toes in about like 60 degrees angle and rolling the outer left hip forward as much possible here. So the person, those are having the stiff thighs or stiff hips, so they can maintain the small corridor, like walking the right foot a little bit slightly out, which will be helping us to keeping our hip square. So this is a very basic trick to keep the hip square. So let's start from the back leg. So back leg is our foundation here. So moving the toes a little bit inward, which will help us to not to stressing the knee. Yeah. So left leg rolling nicely inward in this position. So nicely extend the calf, press the heel and lateral part of the left foot strongly on the floor for the Virabhadrasana one. Knee pushing strongly backward, thigh rolling into out in this position. So inner thigh rolling out and outer thigh rolling inward in this position. So push the left hip strongly forward in this position, keeping the hip square here, tailbone down, elongating the sides of the body here and hands on the hips. Now let's see the front leg, pressing the front of the right foot here, the metatarsal and shifting the weight from the outer arch of the foot, maintaining the space here on the inner side of the right foot. So keeping the both hips in a one line as much possible, hands remain on the hips in this position, elbows moving backward, try to stretch from the sides of the body as much possible and trying to pull the shoulder back, broaden the clavicle, neck longer and look front. Now press the ball of the front foot and left heel strongly on the floor here. As you inhale, lift your chest high, work on the nicely extension of the body, and as you exhale here, keep the weight on the back leg here. So shifting the weight a little bit back on the back leg, and as you exhale from this point, just cut the right thigh, the root of the right thigh from this position and bend the right leg and try to descend this part down, the right hip down, forget about the knee. Just press the right thigh strongly down to the floor in this position. Perfect. So trying to push the right hip deep down here. Very good. Left outer left hip rolling front in this position. So keep the back leg strong. Don't lose the awareness from the back leg. Your back leg constantly pushing backward, like away from the right heel, and push the right hip down, right center of the thigh, the top of the thigh, the root of the thigh down to the floor. Using the hands, push the left hip forward and right hip down towards the floor and move the right knee over the ankle. Just stay there for a bit, shoulder moving backward in this position. Keep maintaining the lift from the anterior body and straight back. Once you're comfortable here in this position, you open your arms to the side for the Vimanasana position. Stretch your arms to the side, align the shoulder. So here, trying to roll the upper arms outward here, shoulder moving down, and then take the arms up as you do the Urdhva Hastasana. Raise the arms up. You can stretch your arms upward. You can keep the hands apart in this position. Or if you feel comfortable, bring the palms together. Put your palms together. Nicely stretch from the sides of the body and lift your head up and look at your thumb, or just look front. So if somebody have the neck pain. But trying to keep the back leg stronger in this position. Left hip rolling forward and cut the right thigh, the root of the thigh, and move the right knee over the ankle. So if you can bring the right thigh parallel to the floor as much possible. So it's heavily right hip pressing down and strongly rolling the left hip forward and drawing the belly in as much possible, and stretching from the sides of the body, longer arms, stretch the wrist, elbows, wrist, and all the way to the tip of the finger. You can slightly lift your head upward and look upward. Yeah, neck longer, stay there for a bit. Inhale. As you exhale, hands on your hip, hold your waistline, and then push the floor and lift yourself up, straight the leg. Slowly step your right foot back to feet together. Let's try with another way with support of the chair. And with support of the wall to working on more to keeping the hip square. If somebody has a tight hip, it become difficult to keeping the hip square. So we can let's try with the chair. So with the chair, it's gonna be more easy for us to keeping the hip square, or we can do some variations. Okay, let's try the Virabhadrasana with the help of the chair. So it's gonna be easy for those who have a tight hip. We can do some variation. So I want you to step your left leg inside the chair. Yeah. And resting the left thigh. So we're going to use the brick here, and we're not going to rest the thigh. So we'll use the one brick here underneath the left hip in this position, which is the front leg here. So you're gonna rest your left thigh, left hip on the brick. Yeah, right leg back. So now we have the guide here. We're gonna pressing the quads strongly on the front seat seat of the chair. So we have a little bit like some guide that you have to press that part to keeping the hip square. So you keep the front knee bent in this position. So left knee comes over the ankle here. So you have a little support underneath the left hip, and we're gonna keep the right heel aligned with the right hip. So I want you to a little bit walking the right leg a little bit like inward here. Yeah, this action, that's it. And you can hold us there the backrest of the chair tightly. Hook it, you can hook it tightly in this position. So pressing the left foot strongly on the floor and pressing the left hip down and trying to make that action as you do like a tailbone in, like samasthiti action. Now hook the backrest of the chair strongly, its elbows into the body, and lift from the sides of the body as much possible. Shoulder moving backward, yeah, neck straight and look in front of you. Now a little work on the back leg. Press the heel strongly on the floor. So heel pressing strongly on the floor, pressing through the outer arch of the foot and lifting the inner ankle a little bit higher. And then same time in this position here, as you're pressing the back heel, trying to rolling the right leg inward internally, and the right thigh rolling into out in this position, and rolling the outer right hip forward as much possible in this position, trying to keeping the hip square here. So keeping the back leg strong, nice and firm, but still if somebody feel really difficult to keeping the hip square, so one of the variation what we can do, we can raise the back heel high in this position, drag the little bit heel toes backward a little bit, yeah, like that. So keep the back heel high, the easiest way to perform the Virabhadrasana. Again the right hip rolling forward, left back and down, and stretch from the sides of the body. Yeah, use the hands to like press the backrest and lift the spine upward. Then from here you can take the arms to the side again as we do in Vimanasana, open the arms, turn the palm facing upward, roll the arms externally, shoulder moving down, shoulder blade down, and squeeze the shoulder blade together and take the arms up in order to open the chest. Arms high, you can put your palms together, pressing the palms and lift your head up, look upward, and stretching arms nicely up towards the ceiling. Stay there, take a few breaths in this position, inhale. Now as you exhale, slowly hands down, back to the chair, you look down in front of you and press the front foot and release the leg, slowly lift yourself up. So let's do the Virabhadrasana 1 if somebody having like a stiff hip, so we can do some variation with support of the wall with the help of the chair. So we take the chair like first center of the chair or center of the mat, we'll change it according our length of our leg. So I want you to please insert the one leg inside of the chair. Yeah. Now, yeah, rest the left thigh, the front legs, yeah, adjust the front leg, so left thigh resting on the seat of the chair. We'll take the right leg back straight on the wall, towards the wall. So we're gonna keep the heel connected with the wall, toes slightly forward, but only the thing, adjust the right hip and the right heel in a one line. So now here, hold the backrest of the chair nicely in this position. Press the right heel strongly on the wall and lifting the right knee high and rolling the right leg nicely internally as you work in the pigeon pose, as you work in a chaturanga, plank, the same leg, back leg very strongly. Outer right hip rolling forward, pressing the front of the right thigh strongly against the front seat of the chair. So trying to pull the left femur bone deep into the hip socket in this position, pressing the left hip down and pulling it backward as much possible, trying to make that a twisting movement from the hip to keeping the hip square. So hold the chair, you can hold from the side a little bit so that we can lift from the sides of the body nicely, but pressing the left hip down, right hip forward, lifting the chest high, shoulder moving backward, broaden the clavicle bone, raising the sternum high, keeping the neck straight, look front. Once you feel comfortable in this position, it can take the arms over the head like a Urdhva Hasta Asana into the high lunge position or in Virabhadrasana position. Drawing the belly in, lifting through the chest, and extension, sharp extension from the waistline to the armpit, armpit to the tip of the finger. Stretching the arms high, palm facing to each other, biceps rolling inward and shoulder moving back and down. Stay there for a bit. As you exhale, hands on the seat of the back rest of the chair, and then slowly relax.